Yeah, I am the tax man here on AM 560. The answer. With my technical producer, Deborah Schreiner, my co-host, Jim Leahy, and you, the listener.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where attorney Stephen Leahy gives his infinite wisdom on all things taxes and tax-related issues. And this week, attorney Stephen Leahy is going to answer a question that really burns deep inside of each one of us.
Okay, well, I don't know if it does that, but it does this.
I know it does for me.
Because the question is...
I don't even know the question.
I know you don't. The question is, why? What makes you different than the big box outfits? What makes you...
That actually does burn deep inside, because if I'm sitting here listening going, why can't I just go with these guys? Well, of course, they're all over the place.
Of course, they advertise everywhere. And so this week I had two clients who came in. Both had used the big box outfits. One actually used both of the big box, because there used to be one that was really the 900-pound gorilla, and then turned into the other one that's the 900-pound gorilla. And they had used both of them. And the other guy had used them too. And what happened, they both fell back into having problems. And this goes back to our IRS protection plan that we talked a lot about this. But it's more than that. It's really about how you explain to people what's going on. Both of my clients, both said, nobody explained it to me what was happening or why they were doing what they were doing.
The only thing they said was, you have a problem.
Yeah, and here's another thing they said to him, pay us. Right. Okay. And then they never explained to them why they were doing what they were doing, why they were gathering this information, what kind of remedy they might have, what kind of remedy they actually got, if they got one. How are they going to stop a levy? What's going on? How long that would take? All of that stuff. Mm-hmm. They didn't share any of that information.
And you walked clients through that.
That's
right?
one of the first things we do in my office is when I sit down.
That's the second thing you do. The first thing you do is cook cookies.
Well, I don't cook the cookies.
But
Bonnie cooks them. Bonnie cooks the cookies.
No, but continue, please.
Okay, so, but what I do is I sit people down and I explain to them how we go about solving IRS problems. And again, these people had been through this. Most people who come to see me, they've had this IRS problem and both of these people have had it for more than 10 years. They've been fighting the IRS, and we always talk about the cascading tax problem on this thing. But I think this is one of the reasons why these big box outfits don't want to explain it to you, because you're going to fall right back into having the problem again. And guess what? They're hoping that you're going to call them again and hire them again. And that's what happened with one of my clients. He was in the midst of hiring them again, and then saw an ad for me, and then he called me and he said, "Well, this is so much different than them, because you sit down and you explain to me where how are you going to solve this problem? Because it's a big problem. It's been bothering me for 10 years. And I keep going back to them, and I thought they had solved this problem." So for instance, he thought that because they had put him in a situation that those years were covered, were already resolved, and now he had to just work on these newer years. And the answer is, no, that's not the way it works. But nobody ever explained it to him. And so he didn't know that if he stopped paying, if he missed taxes again the next year, that all those agreements that he had were canceled. He didn't know. He thought I still had that agreement. This is a new problem. No, the IRS is always the same problem. It's only one problem. So you don't have a problem for 11 and 12 or 13. You have one problem, and it involves 11 and 12 and 13. And so if you miss 12, then all of those...
That's the cascading tax.
That's exactly what we're talking about. And so then you have to concentrate on and that's why I always tell people, you can solve this problem. The number one way to solve problems, the secret ingredient to solving IRS problems is compliance.
But is it not only IRS problems? Like, for example, if I fall behind 1 month on a mortgage, but I continue to pay the mortgage payments after that, but I still owe the balance? I mean, Well,
here's the thing, though. If I'm
if I'm compliant, is that going to help my case?
If I'm one payment behind, I'm probably not going to go into foreclosure. Okay, because you got to get more than one payment behind to fall into foreclosure. But the answer is, you have to be compliant with all your creditors, because if I miss, I still owe it. It doesn't go away. It's the same thing with the IRS. But again, any agreement that you come up with the IRS involves staying in compliance, and nobody reads those agreements when they send them to them, and nobody, it seems, none of these people explain to their clients exactly what's happening and why compliance is the key ingredient. And again, maybe they're hoping that they'll come back and they'll make more money on them when they come back. I don't want to make more money on you. Again, and it doesn't even matter about the money because it's about the hassle and the problem that now you're facing that same nightmare again. That
same issue.
And it never goes away. And now you've been fighting it for more than
nightmare.
For 10 years, you've been fighting the IRS, and there's no end in sight. So that's what I try to show people, where the end can be and how you can reach the end, right? How you can solve this problem forever, right? So you should call me, 312-664-6649. You can go to freeirsbook.com because it tells you, deal with your IRS problem today. Get help today. And so that's what you should do. Even if you've hired someone else in the past, you could still call me. Anyway, I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions regarding any tax issues or if you want your question featured on the show, go over to chicagotaxteam.com or call 312-664-6649. That's Opem Tax Advocates. Ask your question, and we will answer it here on the show. So that means you will be a radio star in the Chicagoland area. Can you believe that? A radio star? I can't because I do it every week. It just is normal.
You're a shining star, no matter
listen,
who you are.
We could get those questions answered for you. 312-664-6649. All right, I got to go to commercial break, but we're going to wrap the show up here shortly here on AM 560.
The answer.